going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Moving through our 12 house series, today we arrive at Mars. What happens when the soldier of our system, our willpower, our passion, steps into the gloomy, isolated, imaginative 12th house? Well, as you know, when planets come here, their energy becomes unconscious. And through really self-awareness, the person learns how to exert and find a direct outlet for their 12th house planet, right? Mars being our energy, our motivation, our aggression, right? Our force that we, how the action that we take towards manifesting things. With it being here, it does make the person very curious and motivated. So in the 12th house, right, Mars being activity is learning everything about the subconscious mind, right? Now, what Mars does is adds motivation. So this person is motivated, but they have a problem manifesting it. Whether it's because 12th house is the house of losses, and you do tend to waste your energy kind of on, it varies. Only you with the person with 12th house Mars knows what dissipates your energy, right? How do you indirectly use it, right? Is it an impulsive nature? Is it an inability to work with others, right? Many things, because at the end of the day, Mars is a malefic, right? The best thing for Mars in the 12th is to be supported by benefics, whether that be Jupiter or Venus. I find those to be the two best. Jupiter, you have somebody who is motivated to change the world. You can't tell them that they're not, right? They have this drive that, you know what, whatever I do, I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna change the world. And no matter how many times they fail, they have enough optimism and relentless courage to keep knocking on the door. Venus is somebody who's fearless in the terms of love, and they have this love for everybody, right? Now, ultimately, on both sides, you have someone who's willing to die for what they believe in, and someone who's willing to die for who they love. Because Mars is a soldier. Don't forget that, right? It's your defense, too, okay? Now, karmically, the ties that I've made to this is that, depending on sign placement and aspects of all that, we can see, like, in a past life, what you put your energy to, right? And what your energy goes into now, and the things that may be holding you back from manifesting that, is part of your karmic pattern. Okay? So you want to dig within self and figure out the subconscious karmic pattern that you're wrapped up in. And karmically, what I found is that in a past life, you could have, like, say, given your energy towards spirituality, or it could have went to something of depending on, like I said, what other planets are here. It could have been something as far as, like, if you're with Jupiter, maybe philosophy, or if it's Venus, something towards that, art or something of that nature, right? Because look at what Mars is doing. Now, the next thing with this is that whether or not you outwardly show this, okay, because 12th house is the unconscious, there's anger here. There is an anger that looms within this person, okay? And the fact that they don't show it leads them to have these attacks of the 12th house Mars. So when Mars gets, especially if Mars is debilitated, this is definitely a high indicator of someone who's possibly murdered somebody or done a crime to the point that they're going to be in jail for a long time. Okay? Huge indicator of this. Right? So it's when the Mars gets activated, like through confrontation, no matter how good of a person you are, how you may have been to that point, when that 12th house Mars comes over you, it's an unconscious feeling, and you may get carried away. So when you're fighting someone, you may end up beating them to death, right? Or you just may end up anywhere. And then being that it also represents foreign cultures and travel and things of that nature, it could indicate this happening to you outside of your country or somewhere foreign to you, right? So 12th house Mars have to be aware of that hidden anger, okay? You have to acknowledge it, and like I said, figure yourself out. That's the key to all 12th house planets. We're working on the soul level, okay, of really understanding our own processes. How can we get this Mars outward and using to our best benefit? The first thing is physical exercise. Now, what this indicates with being in the 12th house is that the person will naturally be drawn to things like yoga, martial arts, kickboxing. These are the females out there, you know, that have no aspiration to being Ronda Rousey, but they're going out there and they're picking up UFC. I've seen it. It's crazy. They want to learn how to do that. So physical but spiritually invigorating activity is the key to your 12th house Mars, right? It's also the house of spirituality. So the thing with the 12th house Mars though, and as far if it's just the 12th house Mars here or whatever, it's gonna be hard to stick to things because, like I said, Mars being energy is moving around, so it kind of creates like a Gemini effect where you're going from thing to thing, you know. So you want to really assess what the passion is with this Mars. What does it for you? What can you stick to? Okay, that's another problem with a part of manifesting, is that you don't stick to the goals long enough. So a Saturn conjunction or a good aspect from Saturn wouldn't hurt at all. Okay, so something physical exercise, but something that, because Mars here is not competitive, right? So it's not like a team sport kind of thing. It's something where you connect with yourself and you learn things about your own body in that way. But also it can be in spiritual matters, but if it's got to be that spiritual system or that thing that really relates to self and keeps you motivated. Alright? So the next thing with Mars here is with Mars being a malefic is, and the 12th house being like the house of secret affairs, this is a high indicator of, even the thing here is that it's a great concept when you really get to delving into your psyche. You start to understand how things come to you. So I'll just put it like this. A 12th house Mars without trying will keep attracting these situations to maybe, you know, have these secret affairs. And if you're married, you know, I would say more than likely the unless you got that support, your secrets may come out. Okay, so Mars is tricky in that sense. Next part, malefically speaking, is that how 12th house being a house of losses could make a person, again, spend theft, free-handed with money, right? Definitely, especially if you're running through what, you know, for those of you who follow Vedic astrology, a Mars Mahadasha, you could definitely lose, but depending on how the chart is set up, have the ability to regain again. So, give and take with this. But all in all, quick recap. I said here that the best way to get Mars directed is through physical activity, right? Something that not necessarily competitive, but gets you to understand your body more, right? One thing that you definitely want to watch out here for is the suppressed anger, because when it comes out, it can really get ugly and possibly land you in situations you never thought you'd be in. And lastly, you have to work with your Saturn. When Mars in this position, you have to work with your Saturn to have the discipline with your action, to discipline your action to fully manifest what it is that you want. And it's best that you have this in conjunction or in good aspect with benefic planets like Venus or Jupiter. Alright? So guys, this was my analysis of the Mars in the 12th house. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed to my page, feel free to do so. And until then, peace.